Okay, we're going to need your foam roller at the end. You're gonna need a ball, a Gertie ball, and a block. So the Gertie ball, I would say have some pretty good, it doesn't have to be like halfway deflated. I would say have it pretty full. So have ball and block nearby. We'll come down onto your backs. Just relax everything down into the floor for these first couple of breaths. Your knees are bent, your feet are flat on the floor. Low back is in neutral. Just take a couple of breaths, letting everything relax for a second. So take a nice big inhale, expanding your rib cage and your belly. And then exhale, relaxing everything. Again, big inhale, expanding rib cage and belly. And exhale, see if you can't just let all of the tension go from your neck and your shoulders, your back, your hips. Just one more breath, letting everything settle for a second, starting from a place of relaxation. Good. And then bring your focus to your low back. I want you to try to keep your low back in this neutral place. You're not going to shift your spine. So take an inhale. On the exhale, start to draw your belly in around your spine. So that corset pulling in around your waist. You're going to try to hold the contraction as we breathe. So keep that belly pulled in around your spine as you inhale, breathing into your rib cage. And then exhale, draw that belly in a little bit more. So just keep holding for these next couple of breaths. Picture your spine as the center point and that corset pulling in around it, kind of snugging in around your spine. Hold for 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. See if you can't keep the tension out of your neck and shoulders. Good. Last breath. Inhaling and exhale. We're going to do a couple in flat back. So take an inhale. On the exhale, go ahead and shift your spine. Press that low back down towards the floor. We're going to hold here for a few breaths. So imagine having an anchor on the inside of your belly button that's dropping down towards the floor. So there's this deepening. And then see if you can try not to press through your feet to get that tilt. See if you can be kind of light through your feet and just working your abdominals to pull down. Check in, try to keep the tension out of your neck and shoulders, holding. One more big breath, inhale. And then exhale, trace your tailbone back down to neutral. So that low back goes back to neutral, tailbone is heavy, belly still pulled in around your spine. You're gonna float one leg into tabletop and then the other. And then come a little closer than 90 degrees, toes pull back towards you, hands come to the fronts of your thighs. You're gonna start to press your hands into your legs. Don't let your legs move. So you're just engaging this isometric. Start to push and hold. Maybe you start out really gently, and then as we're doing this prolonged hold, maybe you start to push just a little bit harder. Ideally, your low back stays in neutral. So you have that little bit of a neutral curve in your low back. If you feel like you need to push into flat back, that's totally fine. You just go into that, pushing your low back down to the floor. Keeping your toes pulled back towards you. Check in with your neck and shoulders. Let's hold for 2 more breaths. Inhaling, exhale, pressing into those legs. Don't let them move. Last breath, inhale. And exhaling. Good. Rest. Maybe you pull those knees in towards your chest for a second. Lovely. You're going to take your ball. So our blown up Gertie ball, we're going to bridge up and place that ball underneath your pelvis. So pretty squarely centered under your pelvis, under that sacrum. Maybe you just do a little bit of shifting your hips side to side, tilting your pelvis front to back. Just kind of make sure that you're nice and centered. on the ball. Hands come down by your side. Belly pulls in, so you get that corset firing around your belly. You're going to float one leg up towards the ceiling and then the other. So we're in our tabletop position. Again, ideally, you're in neutral spine. If you feel like you need to tuck into that flat back, you're welcome to do that too. We're going to do some nice slow toe taps. So gently pointed toes. We're going to let the right leg go down for a count of 4. So you're going to lower for 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap the toe, come back up. 2, 3, 4. Go with the left side, lowering. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap the toe up for 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're just going nice and slow. Keep going. Right side, lowering. 2, 3. Tap the toe up. 2, 3, 4. Left side. 2, 3, 4. Tapping up. 2, 3, 4. One more each side, just like that. Keeping that belly pulled in. Tap the toe and lift. 2, 3, 4. Last time on the left. Tapping, lift. 2, 3, 4. Good. Rest for just a sec. Maybe you just bring those knees in towards your chest. We're going to do the same thing, but just a little bit faster. We're still looking for that nice stability in your midsection. You're not letting your low back change shape. So here we go back to that tabletop, toes gently pointed, belly's pulled in around your spine. Now you're just going to tap and lift, tap and lift, right, and lift. So as you're doing these toe taps, you're not letting your back change shape. As you lower that leg, the back wants to arch. So keep your belly pulled in, keeping things nice and stable. Lower and lift, controlling. 3, got 2 more. 2, and lift. Last one, and lift. Good. Pause and tabletop. We're going to take those legs straight up towards the ceiling. If you have tight hamstrings, you don't have to get them all the way straight. You're just trying to go up towards the ceiling and hold them here in a pretty comfortable place. Belly's pulled in around your spine. Again, we're not going to let this low back change shape. Go ahead and come into more of a posterior tilt or a flat back position. So tuck, kind of press that low back down towards the floor. We're going to try to keep that. You're going to lower this right leg. So let it lower down. And then you're going to lift back up. We're going to alternate. So it's up to you. If you go, you can go halfway. You can go all the way down to that legs parallel to the floor. As long as you can stay stable in this low back. So do whatever kind of range you have available. Not letting that back change shape. Belly's pulled in. And up. Good. Try to keep those neck and shoulders sort of relaxed. Lower and lift. Left and lift. Let's do one more each side. Belly's pulled in. Lower and lift. Last one. Lift. Beautiful. Go ahead. Hug those knees in towards your chest. Good. Go ahead, float one leg back to the floor and then the other. Bridge up, take the ball out for just a sec. Set it aside. You're going to interlace your hands behind your head. We're just going to warm up these upper abdominals for just a second. So let's be in that flat back position in our low back. So go ahead, let your pelvis tilt, press that low back down towards the floor. Hands are interlaced behind your head. Take an inhale, exhale, up into your upper abdominal curl. So just hang out up here for a second, stretching out your upper back a little bit, warming up those upper abs. You're pulling down in your belly, so you've got that anchor on the inside of your belly button, dropping. Don't let your belly pooch up in the center. Good. Take an inhale, exhale, lowering back down. Again, inhale, exhale, up you go. holding at the top. Let's do some little pulses. So we're just gonna lift towards the ceiling for 8, 7, belly's dropping, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lowering back down. Big inhale at the bottom, exhale, coming back up. Head's nice and heavy. You've got about the space of an apricot under your chin, so don't crank on your neck. Here we go, lifting for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely, come back down. So we're gonna do one more thing with the ball here. So take the ball, you're gonna place it in between your ankles. So it's in between your ankles, you're holding on to it, those legs come up towards the ceiling. Again, flat back. So go ahead, press that low back down towards the floor. And again, whatever kind of range you have with your hamstrings, if you need to have these knees slightly bent, do that. Let's reach these arms up towards the ceiling. Palms facing each other. We're gonna take an inhale. I want you to exhale, curl up into your upper ab curl, reach for the ball, grab the ball, and then roll back down. So now the ball's in your hands. Then you're gonna take those arms with control up overhead, slow and controlled, back up towards the ceiling. Good, inhale here, exhale, curling up. Transfer that ball back to your legs and then roll back down. Good, inhale here, exhale, arms up overhead and then back up towards the ceiling. We're gonna repeat that again. Inhale, exhale, curling up, slow, reach for that ball, transfer it to your hands and then roll back down. Legs are staying right where they are the whole time. Arms up overhead and then back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, reaching up, transfer back to your ankles and roll back down. Good, hold here, your hands stay up towards the ceiling. You're gonna bend those knees 90 degrees, balls in between the ankles. So here we go, we're gonna tap those toes to the floor and then come back up to 90 degrees. If this feels like too much, just move them a couple inches, right? If it feels too hard to go all the way to the floor, then just move them out. You can just kind of stretch them out a little bit and come back in. Let's do a couple more here. Lowering and lift, tapping those toes. And lift, last one. Lower and lift, good. Straighten those legs back up towards the ceiling. Here we go, inhale, exhale, reaching up, grab that ball, rolling back down. It's in your hands now, this is it. Arms up overhead, and then back up towards the ceiling. Last one, inhale, exhale, curling up. Ball goes back in between those ankles, rolling down. Bend those knees again. Holding here, reach your arms down by your side. So we're in our like sort of hundreds position. We're gonna do one last upper ab thing. Inhale, exhale, up you go. Reaching those arms along. Just holding here. We're gonna lift little pulses. If you need to put your hands behind your head, you can. We're gonna lift, reaching those fingers long for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Come down, take the ball out, set it aside. Just resting for a second. You're gonna grab your block. We're gonna take that block in between your knees. So I like to have mine on the middle, kind of, I guess what you would consider the middle setting of width. Whatever's in between your knees, make sure that when you are lined up, your hips, knees, and ankles are all in a line, right? So whatever it is not so skinny that your knees are together or so thick your legs are way far apart. Arms are down by your side. Let's take an inhale, exhale, start to squeeze that block in between your knees, just sort of waking up that whole center line. So sort of think about maybe squeezing your feet together. They're not actually going to move, but it's an isometric, like you're trying to kind of pull the mat together in between your feet. Inner thighs are squeezing, pelvic floor maybe gently engaged. Good. Keep that squeeze of this whole middle line. Take an inhale, exhale, pressing up into your bridge. So we're doing a segmental bridge. So one vertebra at a time, you're lifting up. You're gonna hold up here at the top. Let's just kind of mentally work our way through our body. Check in with your neck and shoulders. See if you can't relax there a little bit. Belly pulling in, you've got that corset wrapping around you. That spine is the center point. Pull pubic bone towards your rib cage. So you're kind of lengthening that low back a little bit. You should feel your glutes engage a little more. Inner thighs, squeezing that block. Feet nice and grounded. Good. Inhale, exhale. Drop your sternum, lengthening your tailbone away as you roll all the way down out of that bridge. Good. Again, big inhale at the bottom. Exhale, pressing back up. Lifting into that bridge. Neck and shoulders relaxed. Belly's pulled in, pubic bone pulling towards your rib cage. Keep your pelvis nice and stable. We're going to pulse those knees together. You're going to squeeze the block for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold the squeeze. Keep squeezing those knees. You're going to pulse the pelvis up towards the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering back down. Lengthening that tailbone. Good. Big inhale at the bottom. Exhale. Here we go. Squeeze the block. Press back up. Back of your neck, nice and long. Belly's pulled in. Pubic bone pulling towards your rib cage. Keep the pelvis nice and stable. Here we go. Pulse the knees together for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold the squeeze. We're going to pulse the pelvis up towards the ceiling, lifting. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Lifting and then rolling back down. Lengthening that tailbone. Good. We've got 2 more here. Inhale, exhale, pressing back up. Back of your neck nice and long. Get that pelvis nice and lifted. Pubic bone pulling towards your rib cage. Here we go. Pulse the knees together for 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the squeeze. Squeeze that block. Lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering back down. Good. Last one. Here we go. Big inhale. Exhale. Pressing back up. Nice and lifted. Pubic bone pulling towards your rib cage. Tuck that pelvis. Here we go. Pulse the knees together for 4, 3, 2. Hold the squeeze. Lift the pelvis up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold here. Keep lifted. Keep squeezing inner thighs. You're going to add one thing. You're going to try to pull your heels towards your butt. So squeeze those hamstrings. It's like you're trying to drag your body down towards your feet. You got this. Holding here. Keep lifting those hips. Keep squeezing that block. It's a little bit prolonged hold. 3, 2, 1. Rolling down. Good. Take the block out. Set it aside. We have one more thing before we stretch our hamstrings out. Okay. We're going to combine a little bit of that first ab exercise and a bridge. So you're going to bring your left knee in towards your chest, a little closer than 90 degrees. Bring your right hand to the front of that thigh. So we've got sort of this diagonal pattern happening. Toes pulled back towards you on that left side. You're going to engage this isometric. So press right hand into left knee. Don't let it move, right? So you've got this isometric happening. Keep this engaged. You're gonna push down into the floor with that right foot. Even if you just stay here, that's great. If you can press up into a single leg bridge, fantastic. So if you can lift up into that bridge, keep that isometric engaged. So keep pulling that left knee into that right hand, holding. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Come back down. We're going to switch sides. Right knee comes in toward your chest. Right toe pulls back towards you. Left hand, front of your right thigh. You're going to start to engage that isometric. So push into that right leg. Don't let it move. And then you press that left foot into the floor, engaging that glute. If you stay here, that's great. If you feel like you can, you press up into your single leg bridge, holding up here. Keep that isometric with that right leg engaged. Belly's pulling in, holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Come down. Whew. Let's go into our hamstring stretch. So I'm going to start with that left leg. Just take that leg up towards the ceiling, interlace those hands behind your left thigh. The right leg can either be bent or you can straighten it out. It's up to you. Go ahead and take that left ankle through some range of motion. So pointing your toe, flexing. Maybe you circle that ankle around one direction and then the other. I sometimes feel drawn to take my neck through some rotation side to side when I'm doing this. Just breathing. And then let's just gently internally rotate that left hip a little bit and come across your body. You don't have to move much to really change the stretch. And get into that outer hip a little bit. Maybe you do a little more pointing and flexing of that foot. Toe pulling towards you, heel reaching away. Just take a couple more breaths on this side. Lovely. And then let's switch sides. Excuse me. Holding on behind that right leg. Again, the left can be bent or straight. Pointing and flexing that right ankle, circling. Breathing. Maybe your head goes side to side. Good. Let's internally rotate just a little bit in that right hip, come across your body. So you start to feel maybe that outside, maybe the outside of your calf, outside of that thigh, into that outer hip. Toe pulling towards you, heel reaching away. Let's just take a couple more breaths. Lovely. And then we're going to make our way over onto all fours. So coming into that all fours position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. Let's just go through a couple cat-cows to kind of loosen things up in our spine. So take a big inhale, exhale, belly pulls in. You're going to press everything up towards the ceiling, rounding through your spine. Big inhale here, exhale, reversing it. Letting everything open. So just let yourself go through this a few more times at your own pace. You can add some side bending, some rotation. Just really letting yourself feel into your range of motion that you have right now, where things need to stretch and move. Thinking about every vertebra of your spine, trying to move in every section. Good, last breath. And then you're gonna settle in neutral. flat like a table. So now we're not going to move through that cat-cow position, right? You're going to keep your spine nice and straight like a dowel. We're going to do a little bit of push-up plus, so we're just going to get our scapula moving. You're going to let your shoulder blades sink together. So your sternum lowers down towards the floor, and then you press apart, lifting that sternum. So just controlling this both directions, nice and slow and controlled. And the down is not necessarily a squeeze, right? I don't want you squeezing your shoulder blades. I just want you letting gravity take you down towards the floor, right? So you just sink. Just sometimes that's a really nice stretch at the bottom. And then you press. It's really great for those scapular stabilizing muscles all around your shoulder blade. Let's do one more, lowering and then lifting. So you stay lifted, pressing up away from the floor. So think about pushing into your hands, your sternum is lifting, you're looking down towards the floor, chin gently tucked. I want you to imagine those walls on the outside of either hip. Don't let your hips shift side to side. You're going to take that left leg straight out, up off the floor. Opposite arm goes out. So just holding here. See how still you can be in this statue position, pressing away from the floor. Think of pushing down into that left hand, that sternum lifted, left glute squeezing. You've got support through that low back on the left side, so don't let that sink down. Holding for 4, 3, 2, 1, lowering down, back into neutral. If this ever bothers your wrists, you can roll up your mat in the front and kind of put your hand on the end of it so you're not in as much extension. Can be a nice bit of padding for your hands. Okay, pressing up away from the floor in that neutral position. Don't let those hips go side to side. You're going to take that right leg straight out. Opposite arm goes out. Belly's pulled in. You've got your deep neck flexors engaged a little bit, right? So that means you're looking down towards the floor, your chin gently tucked. You're not letting that chin jut out. Pressing into that right hand, keep that sternum lifted. Right glute engaged. Holding here. Breathing. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Come back down. Just sit back in child's pose for a sec. Stretching out or just getting off your wrists and shoulders. You can roll your wrists around. Breathing. Good. We're going to break this up a little bit to give our wrists a little bit of a break for a second. So come into your forearm position, right? You're on your forearms in that same kind of all fours position. Your elbows are just underneath your shoulders. Again, you're not sinking in between your shoulder blades. You push away from the floor. So drive those forearms, those elbows into the floor. Lift your sternum. Back of your neck is nice and long. You're going to slide that left leg out so that leg is straight. You're just having that toe sort of touching on the ground. Belly's engaged. I want you to lift that left leg. Squeeze your glute. So you lift it as high as you feel like you can without arching your back. Good. And then we're just going to lower, tap the toe and lift. Lower and lift. So just keep going. The things I want you focused on are lifted in between your shoulder blades. We're not changing the shape of your back. So your back is staying really stable. Breathing. Good. Squeezing that glute. So as you squeeze that glute, you engage your abdominals too. You're not arching your back. 4, 3. Stay lifted in between your shoulder blades. 2. Last one, hold up here. Keep that left leg lifted. You're going to bend it 90 degrees. And then we're just going to lift straight up towards the ceiling, pulsing that glute, lifting. 8, 7. So just little. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Come down. We're going to switch sides. Again, pressing up in between those shoulder blades. Belly's engaged. You're gonna slide that right leg out so that leg is straight. Toes just touching the floor. Here we go. Lift that right glute, leg. Squeeze your right glute. Belly's engaged. Good, here we go. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Squeezing that glute and lift. Don't let your back arch. So don't get the extension by extending your back. You're keeping your back in neutral, belly's engaged. 4, stay lifted in between your shoulder blades. 3, 2, 1, hold up here. Bend that leg 90 degrees. Here we go, pulsing up towards the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful, come down. Let's sit back again. Get off your shoulders and your wrists. Roll them around. We're going to do one more set of our alternating arm legs with a little bit of motion this time. So we're going to do the same idea that we just did. So we were just moving our hip without moving our low back, right? We're going to do the same thing in this alternating arm leg position. We're going to hinge in with just this leg. I don't want you to round your back. So we're trying to just simply hinge at the hip and not move our back. So come back into that all fours position, pressed up in between your shoulder blades, belly's engaged. You're going to take that left leg out, right arm goes out. Find your stable place here. Focus on your low back for a second. It's not going to change shape. Here we go. You take that left leg in and out. Slow and control. 2 and out. 3 and out. 4, belly. 5 and out, nice and stable. 6, 2 more. Stay lifted in between your shoulder blades and out. Last one and out. Lovely, come down. Again, lifted in between the shoulder blades. Opposite side, here we go. Take that right leg straight out. Opposite arm goes out. Nice and stable. Belly's pulled in. Here we go. Hinge in with that right hip and out. 2 and out. No motion at that low back. 3 and out. Stay lifted in between your shoulder blades. 4 and out. 5 out. 3 more. 6, 7 and out. Last one. 8 and out. Beautiful. Come down. Let's sit back for a sec. Maybe roll those wrists around. Roll your shoulders around. We're going to go into our planks. Let's do 3 good planks. So this is kind of up to you. You can modify. We're going to rest in between each one, so you can come into a down dog or child's pose to rest, or you can lie down on your belly. So let's go ahead and start in a down dog. So just lifting those hips up towards the ceiling. Maybe walk it out a little bit. So bend one knee, let the other heel lower towards the floor, getting a nice stretch all through that calf and hamstring. Switching sides for a second. Good. And then dropping both heels, really just breathing into that stretch. Good. Take a big inhale here. Exhale. You're going to work your way out into your plank. Adjust yourself if you need to. Those hands should be right down underneath your shoulders. Belly's pulled in. So you're not sinking down in your low back. You're still lifting in between those shoulder blades, just like we were doing when we're in all fours. You've got those deep neck flexors engaged a little bit, right? So you're tucking your chin, lengthening the back of your neck, holding here. Modify if you need to. You can go onto your knees, breathing. Belly's pulled in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Find a rest position, either down dog, child's pose. Just lay down on your belly. Whatever you need to do to take a break for a second. I'm going to switch it up and do a forearm plank for this middle one. Up to you. Good, here we go. Inhale, exhale, out you go. I'm going to work my way down to my forearms. Holding here, still pressing up in between those shoulder blades. Belly's pulled in. Keeping the back of your neck nice and long. Tucking that chin. Breathing. Not sinking into your low back. When we're done with this one, if you've come down to your forearms, you're going to press back up into your full plank before you go to your break. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Find that rest position. And then we're going to do our last plank. You can always add your like mountain climbers, or you can make it as challenging as you want. Here we go. Inhale, exhale. Out you go. Last time. Lift it in between those shoulder blades. Belly's pulled in. Breathing. Maybe shake that head around. Stay out of your neck. Holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let's come down. We'll do a nice little side stretch, child's pose. So sit back into child's pose. You're going to walk both hands off to the right. Drop that left sit bone down and away. Breathing. You can kind of traction that left arm into the floor a little bit. Really stretching into that whole left side, your armpit, that lat, your side body, down into your hip. One more breath on this side. And then you walk your hands through the center off to the left. Drop that right sit bone down and away. Really breathing, stretching into that whole right side. Couple more breaths. Good. Walk your hands to the center. Let's take a big inhale here. Exhale. Go ahead, rounding that spine, stacking back up. Maybe bring those arms behind you, opening up through your chest, circling those shoulders around. And then we're going to come up to standing for our balance work or leg work. You may want your roller upright, a little bit of balance help if you need it. So you're going to stand at the back of your mat, toes pointed straight ahead. Keeping these toes pointed straight ahead is going to help us with your calf stretch right here in the beginning. So let's take a big step out with that right leg. Keeping that left heel pressing down into the floor. To increase this stretch, you can lean into this front leg. So it kind of depends on how tight your calves are. You may not have to step very far if they're a little bit tighter. So we're starting to get a little bit of balance work, just kind of being in this position. So if you feel comfortable and you want to challenge your balance a little bit and you feel fairly stable, you can close your eyes for just a second. Don't fall over. Good. Take one more breath. Go ahead and open them if they were closed. But changing the visual input will change your balance, right? So we're going to go ahead into some lunge position. So you're going to press through that back foot, lift your heel, and then you're going to lower into that lunge. Adjust yourself if you need to. Ideally, you end up being about 90 degrees each knee. Your alignment here, center of your front kneecap is lined up over your second toe, so don't let that knee collapse in. And then keep your pelvis pointed straight ahead. So imagine if you had headlights on the front of your pelvis that are pointed straight ahead. A lot of times in this position with this right leg forward, the headlights would want to turn to the right. So see if you can keep them really open. This left hip stays open. Let's add some little teeny tiny pulses here, up and down a couple inches for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Go ahead, stand back up, drop back into that lunge for just a second, that stretch. So you straighten out that back heel, leg, drop your heel, lean into that front knee. Lovely. Breathe for just a second. So we're going to add a little bit of dynamic stability work. We're going to come in and out of this lunge and a high knee. So let's go back into that lunge position. Find your nice lunge. This is where you're ending. This is your end point where you're coming to. So I want your body to kind of feel this. And then you're going to shift your weight to that front leg, lift into a high knee. And then you're going to go back into that lunge. And whatever kind of motion, and you're just going to come in and out of this, slow and controlled. I want you to think about being able to stop at any point in the motion. It's so controlled that you could just pause. You lift that knee when you come up to standing. Really lift with your belly and come down. Lift. As you come up tall in that right leg, ground into the floor. Feel so stable. If you can touch that left knee down when you go into your lunge, great. If you only go a couple inches, you're still getting a ton of work here. Let's do 4 more. Tall. 3. Lift. 2. 1. Hold here in tall standing, single leg balance. Lifting that left knee. Tall through the crown of your head. 3, 2, 1. Come down. Shake it out. Whew. Come back to the back of your mat. Let's do the other side. You're going to step out with that left leg. Right leg is back. Right heel dropping towards the floor. Really stretching through that back calf. You can lean into that front knee to increase the stretch. Breathing here. Again, if you feel like you want to, close your eyes for a second. Change the stability. Just breathing. Good. Open your eyes if they were closed. Here we go. Pressing up into that back toe and then lowering into your lunge. So check your alignment. Front kneecap, center of your kneecap tracks over your second toe. Headlights pointed straight ahead. So in this position, your headlights would want to point to the left. So don't let that happen. Keep the right side of your pelvis open, squeezing that right glute. Here we go. Let's add our little pulses up and down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back up. Let's drop into that stretch. One more time, lowering that back heel, straightening out that back leg. Breathing for a second. All right, here we go. Pressing up into that back toe. Find your lunge so you can kind of get some muscle memory here. This is where you're coming back to. Nice stable position. Here we go. Transfer your weight. Front leg. Lift that right high knee. Slow and controlled. Back into your lunge. Good. Keep going. Super slow and controlled. I see a lot of people get really wonky and crazy with lunges. So if you're going to do them, I want you to do them slow and controlled, stabilizing this pelvis. If you're really unbalanced, use your roller. I would rather your form be good. And work on the strength in the muscles, right? Belly. Strong through that standing leg. Try to get that right knee lifted. Let's do 3 more. Lift. 2. Lift. Last one. Lift, hold here in this high knee. Standing on that left leg. Tall through the crown of your head. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Come down. Shake it out for a second. Whew. Maybe a little sip of water. Okay. We're going to do our last little bit of balance work. Before we come back down to the floor. So, standing on this right leg, I want you to think about lifting your arch a little bit, right? So don't let it collapse, sort of pull up away from the floor. And this right hip not hanging out to the side. Pull that right hip up underneath you. We're going to stand on this right leg, straighten out the left. We're going to start to swing that left leg back and forth. Just staying nice and stable on that right leg. Tall through the crown of your head. Belly's gently engaged. Lovely. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause with that leg out in front of you. We're going to go side to side. Again, just staying tall through the crown of your head, trying to stay nice and stable. If this is really challenging, again, maybe you have your roller next to you. Definitely pick a point to look at. Having a stable visual will help you. 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake it out. Let's do the other side. So standing into that left leg, again, lifting that arch a little bit. Don't let that left hip pop out to the side. Keep it tucked up underneath you. Straightening out the right. You're going to go front to back. Breathing. Tall through the crown of your head. See if you can't sort of relax those shoulders. Good, you guys. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause with that leg in front. You're going to go side to side. Good. Try to feel the grounding and the stability through that left leg, tall through the crown of your head. Feeling nice and stable, belly's pulled in. It's a ton of work for your foot, your ankle, your knee, your hip. 4, 3, 2, ow. shake it out. Let's come back to the floor. Let's just do real quick side leg and extension. So you're going to come onto your side. If you were lined up with the back of your mat, then you bring those legs forward towards the front corner. Bottom foot gently pressing into the floor, keeping you nice and stable. This top hip's not going to roll back in space, right? You keep it nice and stacked. We're going to lift this top leg so your ankle's even with your hip. You're going to kick to the front, little pulse to the back, little pulse. Kick, kick, and back. 3, and back. 4, and back. 5, and back. 6, and back. Trying to keep your torso nice and stable. And back. Last one. 8, and back. Lined up with your bottom leg, up and down. 8. Slow and controlled both ways. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Small circles. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Let's come onto our belly. Let's do just a quick little extension work. So you're going to bring those hands down by your side. Palms facing your body, pinkies towards the ceiling. Go ahead, take an inhale, exhale. Just lift your upper body up off the floor just a little. So your head's lifted, your sternum's a little bit lifted. Those arms are lifted. Let's get our arms set. You're going to reach your fingertips towards your toes. Open up through the front of your shoulders. Squeeze your arms. So lock your triceps out. Good. Take an inhale here. Exhale, lift everything up off the floor. Legs lift, upper body lifts a little further. Start kicking those legs like you're swimming. So strong legs. Think about trying to kick from your glutes. Keep opening up those shoulders. You're looking down towards the floor. Don't crunch your neck. Squeezing, locking out those triceps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down. Breathe for a sec. We're going to do one last set of those. You always have the option while we're doing those to do like a proper Superman if you want, and take those arms up overhead and flutter your arms. It's just a lot more work for your kind of upper shoulders. All right, here we go. One more of those. Go ahead, get those arms set. They reach down by your side, reaching towards your toes. Open up through your shoulders. Get those triceps firing. Inhale, exhale, lift everything up off the floor. Super strong, belly's engaged. Here we go, start kicking those legs. See if you can't lock your legs out. Think about them moving like matchsticks, so you're not floppy at your knees. Your whole leg working as one unit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Come down. Let's press back for a second. Maybe child's pose or cat position, just taking your back into a rounded place. Good. Let's go ahead onto your other side for your other side leg. Lined up with the back of your mat, legs forward towards the front corner. This is the last thing we're doing, then we're going to roll. So that bottom foot gently pressing into the floor. It's kind of like your little kickstand, helps you stabilize. Top hip stays up. It doesn't roll back in space, right? Here we go. Lift this top leg, even with your hip. You're going to kick to the front. Kick, kick, and back. 2, and back. 3, and back. And back. 5, back. 6, and back. 2 more. 7, and back. Last one, 8, and back. Lined up with your bottom leg, up and down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Small circles. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. Let's come onto your back. Let's do a figure 4 stretch. So lowering onto your back, cross one ankle over the other knee, bring that knee in towards your chest. Breathing, you can take those legs and sort of shift them side to side a little bit. Sometimes you can really figure out where you really need it in that hip and that stretch. Breathing. Couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. Again, maybe taking those legs side to side a little bit. And feeling into that stretch in your hip. And then I want to do just a little bit of rolling out. I did a lot of hip work. So let's take the roller and get into our quads, or IT bands at least. So face down on that roller, fronts of your thighs. You can start with those toes pointed straight down towards the floor. So you're in neutral in your hip. Trying to relax your legs into the roller. Just getting the fronts of those quads. Just slowly rolling all the way from your hip down to just above your knee. Breathing. You can bend one knee or both. Puts that tissue on stretch. And then when you've done a couple passes on the front, you can kind of externally rotate. So turn heels together, toes apart, and get a little bit more of that inner thigh adductors. Trying again to relax your legs into the roller. And then you can go into those IT bands on the side. And because we're not going to do our glutes totally separately, as I'm doing these IT bands, I'm just going to come up and get all the way into that hip a little bit. So remember, when you're doing your IT bands, if this is super intense, which it is for most people, you can put that top foot on the floor to take some of the weight off. If you can stack them, great. And you're working on rolling from your hip all the way down to just above your knee. Don't roll over your knee joint. You're trying to relax into the roller. And switching sides when you're ready. I find that even touching base with this stuff for like, whatever, even 30, 45 seconds to a minute after Working out really helps with the tightness and the soreness, at least in my body. So again, side of your leg, maybe up into that glute a little bit. And then another nice thing to do maybe would be to just check in with that upper back. So just a little bit of leaning over that roller through that upper back. You could open up into some extension. You could lift your butt, roll through that upper back, in between those shoulder blades. At the end of that one, I always like to come down and lay on it like a pillow. Take your head side to side like you're saying no. Just get a little bit of those suboccipitals. Good work, team.